What's up, team? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe. Hope you are finding some ways to pass the time. Today's conversation is gonna be some new stuff. We haven't talked about some of these topics yet before, so hopefully you're as excited as I am to move on from some of the review we focused on before. Remember, I did post in the e-learning folder a extra credit study guide. So if you complete that and send it to me, you can get some points back on the test category, which can really help out some people. So keep that in mind. Today, we're going to talk about a couple changes for women during the 70s. And so roughly about 50 years ago now, and then compare them to what's happening with them today. It's also a huge part of what makes these topics so interesting is because the through line between then and now is so easy to find. But this headline isn't, well, what we're focusing on isn't necessarily Lyndon Johnson dying, but that's important, right? Our great society architect. But what you see underneath that, the second headline, this is what's called the Roe v. Wade decision. High Court rules abortions legal in first 3 months. Now, this is a landmark decision by the Supreme Court, where, as it says now, the basis of abortion is now legal. Now, it doesn't mean each and every person in America has the same access or the same kind of protections. And by that, I mean each state has individual powers in terms of how it handles this decision. Now, the kind of central benchmark of abortion being legal can't be really touched upon. But there are plenty of other things that each individual state can mandate. From certain states trying to push having the potential father's permission to having doctors play the heartbeat for the patient to even limiting access to clinics and restricting state funds. So there's plenty that individual states still have power over. And even though this case came, almost 50 years ago, it's still very hotly debated today. On the left of this image, we see those who are arguing in favor of protecting Roe v. Wade and even expanding its protections for choice. And on the right here, we have those who want to either add more restrictions to it or do away with it altogether. And this is, something that has been brought to the attention of Americans even more so as the Supreme Court has become more conservative. That's what this video is going to talk about a little bit too. So if you open it up, you can play it and take a look at it. But what it really comes down to is that our last Supreme Court justice that retired, Kennedy, not our former president, but when he retired, Kavanaugh became a new Supreme Court justice, and that meant there was a pretty strong conservative majority. So a lot of people have seen several kind of test cases, if you will, from the South. Well, not just the South, but more conservative states overturn ideas and attempts to limit Roe v. Wade's access. So this video goes into a little bit of how the modern day makeup of the Supreme Court can maybe have some modern day implications on the Roe v. Wade decision. The second topic I really want to talk about is something called the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment. And this was a proposed amendment in the 70s that would protect all discrimination from the basis of sex. So, in particular, if you were a woman, you would not be able to be discriminated in any way, shape, or fashion under law. This would be protected by law. Seems kind of like a slam dunk, right? How many people would be against this amendment being passed? And it actually quickly passes both the US House and Senate, but when it goes to the states to get ratified, it starts to actually hit quite a bit of turbulence, as we see here in this photo. I see signs that say, "Stop the ERA, danger ERA." So what are these women doing here? Well, some groups of women were concerned about the ERA. They thought it was actually going to be dangerous to women. There was a strong conservative movement that viewed it as a danger to women's protections. Say, what does this mean? Women would have to join the draft? Would this impact mothers' abilities to acquire alimony, or even just divorced women's ability to acquire alimony. So they viewed it a real danger of the ERA in that way. A strong group of labor as well. Women were concerned that the ERA would remove protections for women in the workplace. So it actually kind of ground to a halt rather quickly. This map shows us here the blue states who have ratified it, and the lightly shaded ones are ones that ratified it, then rescinded or kind of changed their mind, then states who have not ever ratified it. So it actually fell just a few states shy of being what, well, if we were counting still, it'd be our 28th Amendment. But in today's world, it's kind of come back up. So this video follows the journey of Virginia to pass the Equal Rights Amendment. So if you hear that kind of thrown around, what they're talking about, the Equal Rights Amendment, is this proposed amendment that would ban discrimination based on someone's sex. So it's pretty cool to see these issues from the 70s being very applicable to our lives today. We'll talk about some more new stuff tomorrow.